All right. So today we're going to be talking about our pre-application course planning. It's going to be specific uh, with the accelerated engineering masters, but really this is a process that you could use across any masters that you are thinking about, including research and engineering or something in a completely different field. I like to start out with just a reminder when we talk about the accelerated engineering master's programs, here's a list of the programs. These programs are set up and they have a couple of similarities. One, there's no funding available to these programs. Students who are looking for funding would find that on their own through applying to scholarships, some within the university, others without, outside of the university. But typically students are self-funding. These programs are set up that you would take about 12 to 16 months to complete them. It is a full-time program. You go to school, you're in classes Monday through Friday. So it'd be very difficult to hold a full-time job, like impossible, basically, to hold a full-time job. And then it's really, they're set up, you're not going to do a thesis or a research project per se. And so it's something where you would be, when you're finished with this program, you are going out into industry to work. It's not something that you would do this program and then try to go into a PhD. All right. So as we think about your pre-application course planning, I'd like to start with some questions that are helpful for you to get yourself in the mindset of making sure you have the right program and what courses you're going to take, because you need to know that in order to think about what courses you want to take before you apply. So the first question is starting with the end. Where do you want to end up? What job do you want to pursue when you've completed your degree, when you finished graduate school? I like to recommend getting 5 to 15 job descriptions for jobs that get you really excited. And then from there, you're looking at what are the knowledge and skills that I'm going to have in order to be successful in getting this job. What majors are they looking for? And so from there, it can be looking at like, okay, if this is the job I want, what major can best prepare me? A lot of times students are asking me like, I'm debating between these like, 2 to 6 programs. What should I do? And I can't really answer that question. It's a question you need to answer for yourself. And so some of this that we're going to do will help you get into that mindset of like which of the majors is even going to be the best fit for me. And part of that is by looking at this is the job I want. This is what I need to learn in a master's program. And then which master's program is going to offer me the courses that are going to prepare me for that job. As you figure that out and you start thinking about like, okay, I've narrowed it down to a major, then we're thinking about, okay, which courses and like this is stuff where some students won't have thought about this at all until they actually get accepted. Other students, the students that are kind of best prepared to go through this program or any program, will have already thought through what are the courses they want to take. And that's why you're here today, because you're thinking about if I want to take this course in my master's program, I want to make sure that I'm ready for that course. So the question becomes, what courses do you want to take within that major? Then what prereqs are going to be needed for those courses? And then the other question that I like students to ask about is if I'm thinking about a master's that's not in the same undergraduate degree as I've been working on, what coursework would someone in an undergraduate degree with this major typically have done? Because those are going to be your classmates. And you don't want to be the only person who's like never done anything in a specific space. So, um, I just put the links on here for a couple of the sites that I'm going to show you, but I will also make sure that I pull that and put it into um, our chat as we go through them. So the first site we're going to look at is UW-Madison Guide. This is our official source of truth. This is the site where you're going to be able to go and see what courses are part of the major, and then you can even dig deeper and figure out what are the learning outcomes for each one of the courses so that you can start to put together a tentative plan for what courses you'd want to take within a specific master's degree. The other piece that's really helpful is to remember that you also need to be admissible into the graduate school. And so I've got a link here for the graduate school requirements. So things like what does an international student need that might be different than a domestic student? What GPA do you need to have for UW-Madison? We require a minimum of a 3.0 to be accepted into a graduate program. And then individual programs may have higher GPA requirements than that minimum. You have to have finished a bachelor's degree. So sometimes students are like, wait, I'm applying, but I haven't finished yet. Well, you're going to send in your transcripts and you're going to be showing us that you're actively working on that. As we go through this, there might be a prerequisite course, particularly if you're in another institution that you're like, oh, I've never done anything in that space, but I really want to learn about it. The special student office is another way. So one of the things I'll show you is how if you haven't had education in a specific area, you could apply as a special student over summer and do a class here, either in person or if we offer it online, so that you're getting the knowledge that you need to be admissible into a program. And then the last resource I'm going to share with you is our video playlist. So in those videos, you can look at individual programs, look at their overviews. Sometimes I've got in there career outcomes. So what kind of jobs, what kind of salaries are for someone who's got a master's degree in a specific area. I've got videos about that have application assistance. And I also have some videos like how to use Guide, which is a challenging site to navigate because it's really, um, it's not set up to function like your traditional website would. So let's jump in, and I'm going to go ahead and go into Guide. So when you go into Guide, you're actually going to navigate into this professional page, which today, sadly, of all days, is not working properly. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to navigate by putting in, I'm going to get us to the graduate page. You can actually go into the top and search for a specific major on the top. I put in mechanical engineering, and then you can see in here what the different options are within mechanical engineering. And I'm clicking through. Now I can see there's actually like 3 different choices. So for our accelerated programs, they're actually what we call a named option. Your degree would actually be like the Master's of Science in Mechanical Engineering or whatever kind of the main area of engineering is that you're interested in. And here you can see there's 3 options. Your named options are research, accelerated program, modeling and simulation. This modeling and simulation is actually rolling into the accelerated. So after this next fall, there will just be the accelerated program. So then within here, you can see what the admissions requirements are. Some of these programs, like industrial engineering, has specific courses you have to have taken in order to be admissible. You can see what's going to be required in this space. So that's an important page, is to look at that admissions, and then we're going to look at the requirements. So when we go into the requirements, in here, you can see basically it's saying a minimum of 24 formal credits, and you're going to have 15 of them need to be from within mechanical engineering. So what we're going to do to figure out what courses are going to be a good fit for us, we're going to go back up to the top, and there's this course link at the top. We're going to click into courses, and you're going to go to your individual area of interest. So we're going to come back down here. We're going to go into that mechanical engineering. And there's a ton of undergrad courses. We are going to want to get ourselves into at least 400, but for today, we're going to look into 500 level courses or higher. All right, so within here, if we pick one of these courses, you are able to see the more information. You can see what the learning outcomes are, so that helps you know what classes are going to match to the jobs that you want. You can also see these prereqs. So it does basically say you have taken these courses, you are in graduate standing, which you would be in, or a member of engineering guest students. So the reality of it is, technically, because you got admitted, you could go into this class. But what we hear from students is, I want to know, I want to be successful and not be like panicking while I'm in this class and having to like learn everything you would have learned in these courses, as well as what I have to learn in this specific class that I'm in. And so as you're thinking about like what sort of prereqs, you're basically going to navigate through and you're going to be figuring out what's your list. You know, the program, if you are thinking about it's really 30 credits or 10 classes. So you're making your list of the 10 classes that you are planning to take based on the job you want and those learning outcomes that are needed in order to get that job. You're looking at these learning outcomes, and then to figure out any classes that you might want to take, you're going to be looking at these prerequisites. So what courses right here will other students have taken that you will want to have had some experience in? So in this case, you're looking at, you'll want to have had one of these stat classes right here. So it's an or. Sometimes this is an and. So you want to be looking to see, is it an and or an or? And those are the kind of courses you want to be thinking about taking prior to applying. So you might do them while you're still working on your undergrad. If you are a what I would call career changer, meaning maybe you studied physics and now you want to do something in engineering, you might be looking at doing that as, and you already have your degree, you might do that as a special student. So special students are really um, like a non-degree seeking student that's coming in for like the summer to take a couple of classes. And so you can actually apply to come in and take, and you can do it during the school year too. So if you're at an institution that doesn't offer a class, you could work with your institution to get permission to also take a single class with us, like in the fall semester or in the spring semester, so that you're getting some of that knowledge. The benefit of that is you're also showing the College of Engineering that you can be successful at UW-Madison in engineering. The other things you're going to want to be looking at is just making sure that you meet all of the requirements for admissions from the grad school. So I've got the list here. The accelerated engineering programs, none of them require the GRE, but there are other programs that may require the GRE. And so that will be a piece that'll be really important as a college. If you're an international student, you can see the English proficiency guidelines. And so that's, something to be thinking about as well as you think about like what kind of courses you want to have taken, what sort of experience you're going to need. So when you're on the playlist, the way we're going to navigate these is you're going to look at the bigger subject areas here. So as we look through, scroll down here, you can see like here's electrical and computer engineering accelerated. They're looking for making sure you're in the right space. So here you see electrical and computer engineering. This is Power, which is an online program that's not part of the accelerated program. So you're looking for that accelerated or professional as the title as you look in here. All right. And we've reached the end of me talking.